Hey, what's up everybody? This is Josh Shezzy. Just want to say thank you for everyone that's watching my videos, that are reposting and sharing with friends. I'm humble because I'm excited I have something of some type of value that you feel the need to share. So feel free to share. We can talk, we can dialogue, let's walk through life together. That's the purpose of life, living it for eternity. Let's walk this out together. But this video is part 2 of my relationship series. The first video, help me out. The first video, okay, was Mr. Right and Miss Right versus Mr. Right and Miss Right now. In that video, we talked about the differences of settling and waiting. Either settling for someone that can compensate only for me right now, or waiting for that right person that's able to compensate me for a lifetime. So if you haven't checked out that video, feel free to find it on my page, add me as a friend, or you can go to my blog that you'll see later on at the end. But this video right now is going to talk about companionship. What every man should know about a woman and what every woman should know about a man. The basic, the fundamental things in which we should know about each other that will make our relationships last. Let's get right into it. Society has done such a magnificent job in presenting two opposite views on how we should view each other. Society has made it clear and society has made it plain strategically from the desk of Satan in how to make us view each other in a different way. Men view women as whores. Men are now viewing women as pieces of meat, as worthless, and vice versa. Women are viewing men as they're never right, they're dogs. The society has painted on the backdrop of our minds how we ought to, through our lenses, perceive each other. What a distorted view that is, because that is not how every man is. For us to make a bold statement and saying every man is like that, every time you say every, you're already painting a preconceived picture in the back of your mind and how you view every man. Because not every man is that way and not every woman is that way. But we're going to talk about why we are like how we are and why God made us so different. God is strategic, man. He did a great job, and I see why he made men and women so different. He made us so different because we both will have to rely on him to bring us together. We have to allow on his virtues and his attributes and to keeping us together. And it's amazing how those attributes and those values we do not use today. For most of our relationships both parties have presented themselves into relationships through selfishness and impatience. And it's amazing how God wants us to build our relationships off of love, off of patience, off of selflessness and forgiveness. But many of us don't build off that because throughout our single lives, we have been practicing impatience. We have been practicing selfishness. We have been practicing so much for so long that when we enter into this union, we are selfish and we're impatient and we're unforgiving. See, the thing we have to understand is how you practice in your single life is how you perform in your married life. How you practice now determines on how effectively you practice in married life. It's the same thing, and how you practice is how you play. So if we continue to practice these negative attributes or these distorted views and receiving these distorted views, then when we get married, we'll be doing the same thing. That's why Satan started with us at a young age and having us think of each other in distorted ways so that we'll have this preconceived perception or this deceived outlook on the opposite sex. So when God brings that person in our life, we expecting it to fail. Someone asked me earlier today but we was talking about love and how people expect love to fail. Why do we expect love to fail? Is because of what society has presented. The thing that's so different about us is that God has made us so different so we both can rely on him. If we build ourselves to be selfless and build ourselves to be patient and kind and understanding, we'll better understand each other. But this has to happen prior to any type of relationship endeavors. Because if you bring these things into a relationship, it will destroy it. Because when y'all two are presented, selfishness is presented. When y'all two are presented, impatience is presented. And these things will endeavor to separate the two because these are bad habits that have been brought through bad environments. Let's talk about that. All bad habits come from some type of bad environment. I said this in the baggage relationship video. We have been placed in bad environments on purpose. A lot of women have been brought up in this preconceived mentality of independence, have been brought up in how they should view men. And men have been brought up within bad environments and how they should view women. So when you got these two minds that have been brainwashed and mind controlled into believing these things, that when they come into the union, Satan says, yes, that will destroy the union. Because if they continue to practice these bad habits, love will crush them both. See, we don't break marriages. Marriages breaks us. So it's what we don't know about each other that will kill the relationship. That's why the purpose of this video is to talk about those key things that will help us build firm foundations within our relationships, not because of what we know, is based upon what we can share and understand about each other. So let's get right into it. Like I said before, it's what you don't know that'll kill you. It's what you don't know about a relationship or the opposite person that will destroy the relationship. It's not about how beautiful the house is. It's not about how beautiful you can build it. It's about the foundation. If you don't have a foundation, it doesn't matter how beautiful the house is. When a storm comes to test it, it will fall. The reason why many marriages fall is because they built their houses without a foundation. They have a beautiful structure, beautiful siding, beautiful bricks, beautiful shingles, beautiful everything, but when the storm comes, it quits. See, society has built so many quitters when it comes to anything. We have been so comfortable. We even built Christianity off to some comfortable mess. It's like, if it's not comfortable, then it's not God. If it's not peaceful, it's not God. So when storms come, you automatically want to quit because you're tested. So most of the time, when relationships are tested, it's through the communication areas, through how we observe each other. It's through our lack of commitment. See, when I communicate, communication is very important in all relationships, and this is one of the top things that we're going to talk about. There's three components of communication. There's a giver, there's the message, there's the receiver. The message, how the message is presented, and how it's given will determine will the receiver receive. So if the giver of the message is given it in a way that the receiver can't understand, then the message serves no purpose. That's like if I preach something and it doesn't relate to you, it goes in one ear and out the other. There's no substance to it because the way I'm presenting it is in a way that you can't receive it. Now, there's a difference in how men and women receive communication. There's a difference in how we receive things. Women processes things externally. Men process things internally. Men like to focus on things and then externally express how they feel. Women express themselves how they feel through just talking. Not saying that you talk all the time, but that's how you process yourself. Now, the difference is if a woman has been brought up thinking that that's how everyone communicates, when she communicates with a man, and he doesn't receive it, she gets offended as if he doesn't care, not knowing that the man receives communication in a different way. See, men love facts and statistics. We love straight to the point. Bam, we want right then. Women likes to talk around the foundation. They talk in circles, then go for the landing. And with that kind of view, we have to understand, okay, I have to, in my position when communication is presented, have to be selfless and patient. Because if two things are presented differently, and I understand, okay, I know how a woman talks. If a woman wants to express her feelings, I have to let go of what I'm doing now so I can compensate for what she has to say then, and vice versa. When a woman sees a man working on something, that's not a time to interrupt him, because when a man is focused, he is processing something. And anytime you break that process barrier, he gets frustrated because he's processing something. A man's mind is delicate, just like a woman's mind is delicate. But when a man is focused on something, if you break that focus barrier, he will be frustrated. Just like if a man chooses to stay focused too long on something like a video game or sports, it breaks the woman because she wants to see, do you care about her? And it's almost subconsciously she sees if you care on how long you're willing to listen. See, women want you to listen, men. So yes, they might talk in circles, but it's good to make sure that you listen to her, because if you don't listen, somebody else will. Now, women have to understand this, that men receive things, facts, straight to the point. So if he asks you what's for dinner, tell him what's for dinner. If he asks you what's for what, tell him, because if you're talking around in circles, it will discombobulate his mind, because he receives straight to the point. Now, communication damages each other by this. If a woman wants to express how she feels towards her man, but he's so focused on the game, then all of a sudden she feels at that moment that you care about the game more than you care about her. There has to come a balance in which you have to say, whatever I'm doing right now does not come before my family. It doesn't come before my spouse. But get TiVo. Record the game, because what she has to say is important. It might not be important to you, but it's important to her, which makes it important to you because you're one. What's important to her is important to you because you're one flesh. Just like what's important to him is important to her because y'all have joined together to become one. Now, women, you have to understand this. Men receive things straight to the point, like I said. The reason why a lot of good men are scared of women or scared of getting in relationships is because women have been brought up under their moms and aunts that have bad mouths. It's not a fist. A man's fist hurts a woman, but a woman's words hurts a man. How you say things and how you present what you say through your lips can tear a man down. That's why, I don't care how upset you are, you have to guard your tongue. Because if you don't guard it, you will decapitate your man. You will decapitate the man and force him into a closet to close himself, and he will never want to express himself to you. This is the stuff that if we don't understand, it will destroy each other, because men don't want to talk to their wives because she cuts them down with her mouth. And a woman don't want to talk to her husband because the game is important. His fellas are important. His hobbies, his work is important. See how the communication brings confusion? Satan knows that with every type of communication, he has to implement confusion. Because where there's confusion, there's no clarity. So if he implements bad habits from a young age, it will distort the communication when a marriage is presented. That's why in order for us to, before we get good unions, we got to destroy all bad habits. Love can work, but it's up to you to work it. And we have to understand the differences of who we are. Now, observance is key. We can discern spirits, but it's hard for us to discern each other. So it's funny. The more that you deny yourself and observe your spouse or observe your fiance, observe her or observe him, the better you can understand and compensate for her need or his need. If we don't take the time to look, analyze, and draw ourselves into love with this person, we'll never be able to see clearly. Companionship is the joining through the attribute, through the force of love. Love is that thing that mends the two together. We have been building relationships through infatuation to the point to where we don't have that cord. Infatuation is as thin as a string. It can break. But when you have love, something that only God can birth, when those two come together, nothing can break the cord of love. But we can easily sever the cord of infatuation. If we bridge each other through infatuation, it will break. But when we have love, it will work. And love will compel you to work hard. Love will compel you to be patient. Love, that's why they say the greatest of these is love. Because through love, it will endure everything with that person because you love them. But if you don't love them, why do we have the audacity to say we love each other when we really don't? We, in love, will take the time to study each other. I love my wife, and I don't even know who she is. My love for her is building now because God is recreating me a new heart, and He's creating me a right spirit so that when I get into a relationship with her, I already loved you before I even knew I loved you. See, but when we build our lives so caught up on infatuation and how society comes, when we jump into a relationship, it's infatuation. It's not love. When we get into God, how we love God is how we're going to love our spouses. That's why God wants you to be single. Join with him. Be in companionship with him so that you will know what love is. He's our teacher. He will teach us what love is so that when we come together, I will understand you through how I understand God. That's why Satan draws us away from God, so we will never know what it is to love. We look for love in all the wrong places without going to the creator of love himself. Before you endeavor to get in any type of relationship, love God, because he'll teach you how to love her, how to love him before y'all even get together, because it will be that force inside of you that will say, baby, I will never cheat on you. Baby, I will love you through thick and thin because I love God through thick and thin. You cannot know how to love anyone until you first learn how to love God. And that's where we messed up. We lost our first love. How can we say I love my brother whom I see every day? How can I say I love God whom I can't see, but I can't love the person I see every day? Relationships destroy itself because it's contaminated. Anything that's contaminated, water was meant to purify. But if that water has any type of contaminants in it, it's not good for you. When love is contaminated with insecurities and lust, it will destroy it. Marriage will destroy anything that's contaminated. That's why when the priest entered into the holies of holies, he had to be holy. Because it wasn't due to his unholiness that killed him. It was due to how holy God was. So when you step into marriage, which is holy, if you have anything that's not been washed with God's blood, the holiness of marriage will destroy you. That's why we have to learn how to love each other. Love God before we even endeavor to love each other. So today, let's study love. Let's study to show ourselves approved. Let's practice how we want to perform when we brought together. Let's study the opposite sex. Let's study how she thinks. Let's study how he thinks so that when we come together, we already understand, because God understands everything. Love can work, but you gotta work it. What you know about God will help you better understand how to compensate for the delicate needs of a woman and how a woman ought to exhort and edify a man. See, some women think that they can't give a man no type of good words because, oh, that's stroking his ego. A man needs to know how much you respect him. That's why men, we don't care about what gifts you get us. We don't care about gifts. We care about what you have to say about us. How do you high us into your esteem? How do you see us? If you always decapitating us, we don't want nothing to do with you because you always saying something negative. And men, women want to know how much you love her through your embracing touch. How you not touch her sexually, but how you care about her. She don't care about what you got to say until she first know how much you care. The moment she feels insecure or unstable, she don't care what you got to present. See, we have to understand that a woman wants to be secure and stable. If she's insecure and unstable, she don't want to give you no sex. She don't want to give you nothing because she's not secure. Men likes to feel respected, honored, and high esteem. We want to be heard. We want to hear how you feel about us. We don't want no cards from you. Sorry about that. I talked so much that the video ran out of minutes. But I'm going to do a part 2 of this video because I have a lot more to say. But I done talked so much. So the next video we're going to talk about the different red flags in relationships. How to notice the red flags before you enter into a relationship. Because just like God can bring the right one, Satan can bring a counterfeit. And that counterfeit will derail you from ever connecting to the right person. But thank you for watching this video. I pray it has blessed you. Feel free to share. This is coming from my heart. I don't care if I never met you a day in my life. I care about you. That's why I do these videos. But feel free to share. If you have any questions that you want me to address, feel free to send me a message. Add me as a friend. My name is Joshua Ezzy. Feel free to check out my website, kingdometernity.com, and my blog, wetalkreal.blogspot.com. I have a lot more to say. That's why I'm doing a series of relationships. Let's walk this thing out together so that we can show the world that love works. Thank you for watching. Be blessed.